Hola amigos, Apocalypse again, and now we're back with the final video, which is for the most important part of your entire law school, which is the examination. The examinations comprise two parts: the MCQs and the bar finals, the bar 2 bar examination. So we'll just start with the MCQs, which of course come first. I think there's usually about a week or two between MCQs and the bar finals. So in preparing for MCQs, let Mura tell you what she...
So for MCQs, basically what I did was I did a lot of past questions because MCQ tests your speed and your accuracy. So even if you know the answer, you need to be fast. And when you think you know the answer, you don't actually know the answer. They're very fond of doing a lot of English,
Gymnastics.
yeah, and they just want to confuse you.
Oh, but one of the following is not...
Why?
But one of the following...
Why? I never understood it. So I think for me, doing a lot of past questions helped me because I was able to monitor my speed. I found out I could finish before time, and then what I needed to focus on was being correct in everything. So by the time I had already done everything and so that I could finish, and I started working on my accuracy. How do I figure out how to interpret the question really quickly and then finish up? I think by the time it was time for MCQ, I was okay. It's not that difficult.
And I think that past questions are really, really crucial because if you can go through all the years, I think we had like 10 years in that booklet. If you can go through all the years, you would be able to know, okay, where am I lacking? Is it speed? Then you work on your speed. Is it correctness? Then like that. At first, you might fail. I know when we started, we were getting 2/29, but don't be scared. Just keep doing it and keep practicing. When you finish, check your answers. What did I do wrong? What should I do right next time?
The good thing about MCQs is, I don't know whether both of you agree with that, you don't actually have to be 100% prepared for every single part of your law school. You don't have to have read every single thing. I'm not saying you should not read every single thing, but you just have to have a very sufficient amount of knowledge. And I'm assuming that you are targeting a first class or at the very worst a 2-1. So ideally for your MCQs, you should be targeting a minimum of maybe 15, 16 in every single course. Because if you walk into your bar final examination with 15, 16, in fact actually 20, very, very possible to have 20 in the bag, then you are in a very good stead. And people have different methods. So for me, I didn't practice any MCQ past questions until like a week before, because I just wanted to focus on having all the knowledge that I needed as possible in my head, and then I'll go and practice. And in practicing past questions, another thing that I would advise is that you try and make it look like the actual exam scenario. So when you're practicing, don't be watching Arsenal versus Manchester United, of which Arsenal beat Man United. Don't be listening to music. Make it look like it is the actual examination. That is how you will know how you handle tension, although the exam will have more tension, how you handle pressure, and the most important thing is of course time. So and I also would advise that you try and practice like 5 courses. So don't just practice 20 questions in criminal law and then that's it until the next day. It doesn't make sense to me.
So. And I think if you're timing yourself, maybe you start with, I think it's 60 minutes. 50 or 60 minutes.
It's 60. It's an hour. 60.
But when you're practicing, you can do like 30. You can give yourself like 60 minutes and 50, then 40. Just reduce it because when the time comes, I know I don't think I finished.
Because for some weird reason, whatever your time is in your practice, you always use more time in the exam. And I never understood that, because even while I was practicing the past questions, I never, not once, did I ever use more than 40 minutes. Exactly. And I was never, struggling to finish. I wasn't like, okay, I want to finish within 40 minutes. I actually just chilled and finishing within 40 minutes. And then the exam came, 60 minutes, and I found myself 2 minutes to go, and I was like, and I still had like 10 questions left, and I just had to guess through. So it's very important you practice, with time.
Yeah. And I think for this, the final thing I would say is I would advise rather that you do one course and you finish it, because people who were doing criminal 10, the thing is your brain, it doesn't adjust that quickly. Yeah. So you do 10 for criminal, 10 for civil, then you come back to criminal, and your brain is still trying to shift back into gear. Oh, what's criminal again? And the procedure in criminal and civil is so different, so you confuse yourself. Just finish one and move to the next one.
It's also very dangerous because when you start doing things like that, that's when might make mistakes and answer civil under the part for criminal, and then that's zero. So just answer the questions as they are laid out and answer each of them. Complete one course before moving to the next one. I think that's the best thing. Do you have anything else? Back. So after MCQ, we don't know how the schedule will be in your time. So you may have a week, you may have 2 weeks between your MCQ and your bar finals, and that is really when you enter Gear 5 mode. That is when your everything culminates at this point. It's like your run-up before taking the final penalty to win the Champions League. So you have to be as composed as you possibly can, and as focused and disciplined as you possibly can. I don't know whether both of you agree, but for me, I don't subscribe to doing post-mortem analysis of even your MCQ. Why? Because I always ask myself, I always say, what's the point? If you do a post-mortem of an exam and you see that you got 20 over 20, then what next? Nothing has changed. You still have to kill your bar finals. If anything, knowing that you got 20 over 20 might make you complacent. If you do a post-mortem and you saw that you got 8 or 5 over 20, then what's next? It doesn't change the fact that you still have a bar final to write. And if anything, you're just adding extra pressure to a situation that already has so much pressure on you. So just you've done your best, you've submitted. There's no point doing anything else after that. So
yeah, I agree with that. I didn't do that for my MCQ, and I think I was fine. What you just have to remember though is that no matter what you get in your MCQ, that there's no one way to get an A. Even if you get 8, you never know what will happen in your bar final.
You can destroy your bar final, smash it.
So
get 71.
Just do the MCQ, forget about it,
and leave it,
and move on. But then if you do the MCQ and you feel that some aspects you're not clear on it, or you feel you failed, then you can read up on those
specific areas
and clarify it. That's all I'll say.
I think I know some people that did the post. I didn't do it, but I know some people that did, and I know that I know that it like you said, it puts pressure on you to okay, maybe I should focus on corporate because I didn't do my corporate well, and then you forget other things, and then your exam corporate might not be really good. Just I don't know.
There's no need.
Yeah, I don't think there's need it actually.
So move into the bar finals, and as you know, the bar final is very intense. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Each and every single day has a course. Most likely you will have them in the morning. At least we have them in the morning during that time.
Yeah,
well, it will be scheduled for the morning. You may eventually have it in the afternoon, but you have to be there in the morning. So what I would suggest for your bar finals is that you have to be as composed and mature as you possibly can. People have different methods of doing things. I believe that that's when you should be most physically fit. And by physically fit, I mean that's when your brain should be fresh. You've been reading for 10 months. So no matter what, you should have gotten a proper amount of sleep before each paper. Because it's very easy. I have friends, Ken, who slept off during an exam. You could actually just blank out. You could faint. There are so many. You don't want to be playing dice games with your exam. So just at the very least, make sure you've slept and you've ate enough. What else?
I think what I did during I didn't take his advice because I know my roommate was getting 6 hours of sleep. But I could not, because anytime I sleep, I'm thinking of exams and I'm thinking of this case or this. So I used most of my nights to read. But I knew that okay, after one exam or one paper, I have to come back and sleep at least 3 hours, then wake up and continue reading again. So I think, above all, eat well, stay healthy, because getting sick during an exam is not the worst.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
And then apart from that, during the exam, for most people in your undergraduate level, I think it was 2 hours or 2.5 hours for your exams. Here it's 3 hours, right? So bar finals is not like your undergraduate. You're not going to write in terms of volume. You're not going to write as much as you wrote during your undergrad. So there's no need to just jump in and start moving and writing. If you can be like Wura that finishes her exam in 1 hour, but you should just relax and take your time and make sure you are not making any mistakes. She can do that because she knows everything. For example, me, I did not know everything, so I had to make sure that before I start putting pen to paper, I've thought out my answer before I start to answer. Utilize the 3 hours. It is your 3 hours. There's no need to dash it to anybody else. And also, just like your MCQs, don't do any post-mortem analysis because you will cry. I mean, I can remember criminal litigation. One of my friends, I'll not call his name this time, he totally missed the mark on something and he was about to cause a serious brouhaha in the hostel, and that was unnecessary because the very next day you have another paper. So do not do any post-mortem analysis. Don't do it. It's not necessary at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So finally, I think what I would say is try not to cheat.
Try. Don't cheat.
Once they catch you, like,
It's over.
that's the end of your law
Why
school.
And then
cheat?
there'll be a lot of cheating in your exam hall, of course.
Like
But just
everywhere.
be focused. Don't
Remove yourself from it.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is just focus on God, pray, and you'll be fine.
It's that God thing is extremely important because so many things can come up during the exam week that you never ever thought of, and if you are not close to Him at that point, then you're basically on your own. And it doesn't mean you cannot pass on your own, but it's not exactly the best. So I'd advise you stay strong, stay focused, stay disciplined, stay matured, and just do your utmost best each and every day. And forget about the previous day and the next day. And immediately after that, make sure that you turn up, because if you do not chop your life,
Life.